decide to maximize its great potentials. This event is a part of Indonesia's contribution to support those efforts. As the title suggests, the seminar is meant to provide a platform to engage, exchange views, and share best practices in the utilization of digital transformation. Finish my remarks by quoting Robert J. Shiller, a professor of economics from Yale University who won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2013. He said that you cannot wait until a house burns down to buy fire insurance on it. And also, we cannot wait until there are massive dislocations in our society to prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. So before the house burning out and before the massive dislocations happening, so we have to discuss now.
Principle to UNIDO as part of the United Nations systems and trying to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in the Agenda 2030. What we're eventually looking forward is to enable nations and countries to provide for their people and for the communities simple issues, not so simple, like health, education, security, and opportunities for development. And this, of course, is very much enshrined in the Agenda 2030, which, for good reason, for this reason, has three pillars on which it stands. One is the social side, one is the environmental side of it, but the basis of it all is economic development, which we need in order to provide those agencies and those opportunities for all people in the nations we're working for. This is very much why the economic development, and within economic development, the development of industries and manufacturing industries is the core for the success of the agenda in its whole. Creative industry, and that's the second point I would like to make in this, in all the nations we're looking at playing a very crucial role. The word of creative industry, which nowadays we like to call orange economy, is of course something which has shifted and changed significantly over the years. It was at sometimes handicrafts, but by today we include industries like the filmmaking industry, like high-tech industries, the ambassador just has been mentioning other industries which are very much driven by technology. And so what it is in the eventual and smallest economic entity is the core of the backbone of the industry, which allows to reap the benefits of creativity of its people and in a combined manner be the substance and the backbone of an economy.
It's a privilege for me to speak in front of all of you here at the Industry 4.0 and a creative economy promoting inclusive ecosystem in digital era seminar. In this occasion, first of all, I would like to extend the warmest greeting from our chairman, His Excellency Triawan Munaf. Smart autonomous system is capable of self-cognition, self-optimization, and self-customization. The technologies today include artificial intelligence, robotic, IoT or Internet of Things, autonomous vehicle, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. In this era of Industry 4.0, people now need to be more agile to develop new ideas and improve business performance. With the involvement of the digital transformation, the expression of creativity is being facilitated. Thus, everything's become an economic opportunity. Excellencies, colleagues, creative economy deal with the interface between economy, culture, technology, and social.
It's a work in progress. We understand that while Indonesia is the home of 4 unicorns, namely Gojek, Tokopedia, Bukalapak, and Traveloka. One of them, Gojek, now already become a decacorn with a valuation more than $10 billion. We need to accelerate the growth of our creative industries and taking action to elevate those who are not in the same playing fields. That is why we are creating many programs which will help Indonesia creative player from the beginning to the end of the creative economy value chain. We are also working with other ministries and agencies to establish a prominent creative economy regulation and roadmap. The National Creative Economy Development Master Plan, or in Indonesia we call it RINDEKRAP, was enacted in 2018 and will be acting as the guidelines for central, provincial and agencies government in conducting, where it will be a global designated pool of resources in creative economy. This medium will encourage ideas, innovation, research and exchange of best practices within the creative economy, as well as actively promoting international cooperation among stakeholders. Once it is set up, we are inviting all related stakeholders, of course including our UNIDO, to cooperate and collaborate within the landscape of creative economy. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, colleagues, Indonesia is committing toward a sustainable economic sector that is resilient, risk-proof and crisis-proof. The idea of conventional nature-based resource economy is obsolete and increasingly volatile. Creative economy allows us to generate economic values and contribute significantly toward national economy in the most sustainable source, which is the human creativity. No matter who you are and where you are from, creative economy opens its arms and embraces everyone. As they say, creativity is the new global currency. Thus, with its inclusivity, we are here can ensure that no one left behind. I thank you and wishing you all a lively idea exchanges and discussion during this seminars. Danke. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Madam Sulistianti. Before there is just a short ceremony for giving the token of appreciation to Mr. Victor. We would like to say that we are having some expose on our part of our creative economy, the pattern of batik, then the flower arrangement, all this craft, and also after the discussion led by Mr. Chandra Negara and also Madam Olga Memedovic from how the government and UN promoting creative economy, until then how then the creative economy attract big brand and also SMEs. So we will also
have a agency for creative economy. I'm tasked now with to be a moderator for the first session. We have already here with me, we have Dr. Marisa Henderson, Chief of Creative Economy Program at the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. We have also Dr. Olga Memedovic. It's a familiar face for you, of course, because it's the what is your business card? What is your business card? I'm sorry. She's Deputy Director and Chief Business Environment Cluster and Innovation Division at the Department of Trade, Investment and Innovation at UNIDO. And then I have also Dato Steve Chia, the President of Global Entrepreneurship Network from Thailand. First, for this first session, I'd like to invite the speakers to present their idea, their views, or perhaps experience on And one more. Wait, I'm so sorry. We have just added one more speaker to this forum, to this session, but I haven't received the name. I'm sorry, sir. His name is Alejandro Rivera Rojas. He's from the Industrial Development Officer from the Business Environment Cluster and Innovation Division, also at Department of Trade, Investment and Innovation from UNIDO. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, for this first session, I'd like to allocate 10 minutes each speaker to present ideas, thought, experience, or views on the issue of Industry 4.0 and creative
And
economy.
they were concerned about how they could make money out of reggae. That was in 2004. And Antel produced then a groundbreaking report in the early 2008. It was the first creative economy report. It was the first United Nations report on creative industries, and it was published by both leading agencies were ANTED and UNDP, the South-South Cooperation Unit in New York, and it had the cooperation of leading agencies like UNESCO, WIPO, and the ATC. This report then helped set the industry benchmark and shape the debate on the global economy and creative industries. And the collaboration that was created then with the different agencies was very successful, because each United Nations agency has particular expertise on creative industry. We all look at the creative economy from a different angle. So all collaborating together really enriched the dialogue. For example, let me say that some member states disagree on how to, for example, tax VAT to certain creative goods or not. How e-books should be treated as a particular service within that. So there are very nuances, and they are under discussion. In fact, they have been under discussion at the WTO for 20 years. 20 years, and there hasn't been resolution yet, because as you know, the negotiations haven't been followed, haven't resulted in a conclusion yet. But it's very, very important, because of this delay in getting the solution, regional trade agreements, many regional trade agreements now have.
It is important to understand that there are digital technologies, and we heard what are those digital technologies and why they are important, because they are important to connect physical world and virtual world. However, I would not stick to the digital technologies only. There were facilitators. They were also general purpose technologies that also facilitated other things. And this is more important to go beyond digital world, is also to go to the Work 4.0, and from the Work 4.0 also to think that there is convergence of technologies, convergent technologies. We have a very successful Sochi meeting on convergent technologies, when you can see that there are synergies, and that not only that digital technologies allow to bring automation on the high level, they also allow to bring innovation on high level. Innovation is crucial because due to this innovation we have convergence. Convergence is very important because convergence creates divergence. Divergence creates new jobs, new activities. So this should not be ignored, because this convergence of technologies went on the, again, high level, which not only connects physical and virtual world, but also physical, virtual and biological world. So this is really very important. Opportunities are many, and we heard already today that we always have to have in mind 3 pillars of sustainability: Sustainable Development Agenda 2030 and goals. And if you look on opportunities and new technology, we see that there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of returns to be captured on all these 3 pillars. And among them is quality of life, enhancing human capabilities, which are enhanced due to these new technologies. Enhancing human capabilities means also creativity of humans. Who are we? What we can do? Can we do more? Also leveraging
creative parts of human beings. So this is very important, and it's a subject of this event today. So very important is also to understand that there are also few challenges which we have, not only opportunities to gain economic, social and environmental returns, but challenges are very important. And we heard from the previous
be inquisitive. That's one way, one of the talents that we need to be able to nurture, to have focus and practice. Focus and practice in the sense that you can be only good in something if you really put your focus, and you need to practice. If you're a musician, for example, you need a lot of practice. You need to focus on what you want in terms of the creativity and what you can actually add to that. You need to be receptive to new ideas. There's nothing new to that, so I won't go elaborate to that. And we need to look at things, the same things, differently, looking from a different angle. Now that goes back to my talk. Me mentioning about identity. The moment we identify ourselves too much as this or that or who am I and so on, we actually become less creative because we tend to want to follow that particular identity that we have put for ourselves. The approach of doing it is, there's a term called info-sponging. This is actually coined by a very well-known speaker called Jack Hoffman. If you don't know him, he founded Priceline.com, that was Ago.com and so on. He says that you really need to go out there to absorb new ideas like a sponge. It may not be something that's directly related to what you do, but you need to go out there and get information, what's happening around the world, and have blue sky sessions. Go out there, be open to whatever comes in. This is one way of doing it. You need to relax and meditate. I know this is not a particular sessions for this kind of talk, but there's a lot of talk about, there's a lot of understanding about you need to get your brain wave to a delta level, for example. You need to meditate, so many talks about people found interesting ideas when they were relaxing the bath and what else. Clarity of perception is important because we tend to want to imagine things, but we have no clarity of perception. Imagination is good, but you need to look at the current situation. We need to see whether it's
about Indonesia. This was see, I know how much you also invest into all this. Using this opportunity, I would also like to invite all the colleagues to the St. Petersburg International Cultural Forum, which we plan to organize on 14th, 16 November in the city of St. Petersburg of the Russian Federation, and to say that the part of this cultural forum this year going to be an artisan international congress, and the topic of this congress is creative industries. So please come and join us all together. And I also would like to ask a question, because it was like an introduction part. So my question actually goes more to UNIDA and probably more to Ms. Mehmedovich. We work also with Ms. Mehmedovich for quite a long time and in different spheres, and we know the Department of Trade, Investment and Innovation is a very good partner of us in different spheres. For example, it was mentioned right now the event on nature-based technologies. Recently we were making exactly once again with this team the event of industrial safety and security. So the question is how we, member states of UNIDA, can cooperate through UNIDA, with UNIDA, to develop these industries, because it's not only about making one project or another in that or that this or that country. We have really very good examples. We are thankful for this, but I think that it should go more about really international cooperation. Because, for example, once again, Indonesia has very good practices. We are interested, we do not know a lot about this. And we also, from our side, we are also ready both to take, but also we are ready to give and to share our practices. Probably UNIDA could somehow help us with Indonesia, with other colleagues to make here certain also a platform or a program of many stakeholders on this very ground to enhance our interaction and to exchange best practices.
4.0 on such assets as cultural assets, as music in the future, and in terms of localizing jobs to where they initially
economy or cognitive economy. Of course, if we are here, I think we stand for creative economy, but this is a good question. Behind all that is something which matters even more, right? And again, the connectivity between creative economy and industry is absolutely not obvious if you consider that from the point of view of inclusiveness, right? In fact, it is such a serious issue that, you know, literature is piling up so as to say we have a problem. We need to recouple very quickly these industry shifts and society at large. And I do strongly believe creative economy, it could be one driver.
The problem faced by Indonesian creative actors, where you can see the yellow one is actually the highest challenges happens faced by Indonesian actors. The first one is actually about the domestic marketing, followed by research and development, and also followed by educations, and so on and so on. So there are still many problems faced by Indonesian creative actors. The second one is about the number of SMEs. So this is the current data from our Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises. And as you can see, there is a really big gap between the number of micro enterprises and small and also the medium enterprises. So this has become a big issue. So why is it happening? So if you know that in Indonesia, we are really open with entrepreneurship. It is really easy for us to start a business in Indonesia, as a micro one, as a small one. We don't need to register our businesses. And it is a really good ecosystem to actually fostering the growth of new business. But, well, actually, it is not growing very fast, so they are really...
This means the image transfer from the region to the companies, to the company brands, but also the other way around, from the company and regional brands to the regions. You also create synergies, because through the coordination of all these different activities of business, of tourism, of in Austria we have here many stakeholder groups which should be coordinated. Usually they all have their own activities, which costs a lot of money. So if you coordinate them, you create synergies and even save costs. Yeah, you save costs and you increase efficiency and effectiveness. Of course, this branding increases competitiveness. So it's an investment, it's not an expense. A brand program is an investment into your company, into your region. It is sustainable. I told you that 40% of company value is derived from brands. What do you think how much is derived from patents?
Branding, for example, or to inform guests of the opera. And that's what we presented in Austin as well. And I think this should have been a short clip, but I don't know if it works. I guess not. But there was another example of a couple of museums from Vienna, the MAC, the Museum of Applied Art. It's working. And also the Leopold Museum and the Albertina, who had a cooperation with a startup from Vienna called Artivive, who augmented artworks with additional information, and this had its premiere in Austin as well. So this was just a very short introduction of how we try to support creative industries from Austria in foreign countries, but there are a lot of other different ways we are trying to do that. For example, we also have a very strong focus on open innovation. We do a lot of hackathons where we bring Austrian creatives to other countries. We were in Tel Aviv last year, where we had a hackathon with a local institution, Shenkar College, and there were like challenges for creatives.
To the cultural industry, we frame this issue with different technology. We do not adopt the term of creative economy as other countries, but we formulate the policy with the name of cultural industry, including the cultural goods and cultural services. And I think there's convergence among these two items. So I have more questions concerning the Austrian experts' speech. I want to know, is there any bilateral cooperation framework between Austria and other countries or groups to advocate your country's cultural industry?
Creative economy really to give substance and human substance to this digital transformations. Otherwise, it will be just about competitiveness and just about comparing figures, but in a way that will lose a lot of people on the way. That's really critical, and that will not enhance inclusiveness and social progress along with the industry transformations that are happening, right? That are happening.
May I add something to this? The more digital we become, the more branding we need. Why? Because brands have these relationships. With digital, you kind of lose it a little bit. Yeah? But when you use the brand to create these relationships, then it's exactly addressing what you said. Yeah, that's why we created this joint program, Branding for Competitiveness, with TII, with Farouk. Alimjanov is very instrumental in these activities, because also for the digital economy, it's even more important than the brand. And when you look, who are the most valuable brands in the world? Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook. You need a brand to build the relationship, especially in the digital world.
I would like to add that Center of Excellence, very important issue, that Austria was very aspiring for establishing pilot factories, learning factories, demonstration factories. In Aspert there is this learning factory. Many visitors from different countries and me also facilitated this visit.